Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie and television discussion in the multiverse. I'm your host, Adam Portress, and joining me today, his favorite lone wolf is Lorenzo Lamas, sweet Sean's Kovacs from the internet.
Get out of my head, Portress.
And he'll be your sword mistress, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and I also fight with my boobs out to distract my enemies. Oh. Gaze upon my undulating bosom.
Well, I think we have a nomination for at least best, clip of the year coming from just in February. No
without
less.
a doubt. Cut that. Let's have that.
Man. Can one of our people just put that down on a thing? We need to start making files and stuff.
Needs to be my new ringtone.
So we can have all these things and then bring them back up in court when necessary.
In court, great.
Welcome back, everybody. This week, we are continuing yet again with this tradition of on the Valentine's weekend, we're reviewing yet another Lone Wolf and Cub movie. This time, Lone Wolf and Cub, Baby Cart in Peril. This is number 4 in the series, I believe.
4, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
my sources say... yes.
We are excited about that because we've enjoyed I don't know about you, but when I started this thing up, right away, it just felt like a warm blanket.
I missed my friends, number one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Miss seeing my two buddies. But the other thing, too, is that I really am a sucker for tradition. Like, I love tradition. I think because I'm not a spiritual man, so I don't have that part of one's life. But I like, hey, like, this is what you're doing now. Like, this is what, like, I love that kind of thing and that kind of structure. And so to have this every February, it's just wonderful.
And we got several more and everything, so like it's been going
more
great.
Than we thought.
Yeah, we thought like this was going to be the last one, and like, the tradition's gone, and they're like, no, we got like 3 more after this.
More.
It's like beautiful.
We got more.
So you've got the show for at least that much longer. So start making more of these movies.
The original cast back. That's what we want.
Start resurrecting people from the dead. I don't care how you do
to
it.
Disney Plus.
We'll have to get one of the one living member out of prison.
Listen, the things they do with CGI these days, who's to say what could happen? Before we get to that review and everything, we do want to say a big thank you to the people that support us over at patreon.com/HMP. Those awesome people get pre-show, post-show, ding-a-zone, and all that kind of fun stuff. And, of course, get to vote on what we watch every month, and so that'll be coming up a little bit later on. So keep that in mind. If you can't do that, for heaven's sakes, drop on over to the iTunes. Give us a 5-star review, a.k.a. Humdinger.
Humdinger.
Or on even Spotify now. I've seen at least 30-plus people give us a little review there on Spotify. I don't think you can actually write anything, but you can drop 5 stars. You almost don't even have to have any effort to it. It's not like they're even asking you to write something. Just go, there you go, we're done.
Perfect. We're worthy of your Bronx cheer.
It's beautiful. We love it so much. All you got to do is just go by there. I don't even use Spotify, but I open that bad boy up, and even I rate myself 5 stars because, man, I like it. I like myself. I'm pretty good. I'm all right, I guess.
Man, why are you lying?
Shut
you
up.
don't like yourself at all.
Shut up. This is a podcast. They don't know.
Filled with self-loathing.
They don't know I hate myself. Be quiet. They think I have a lot of really good high self-esteem and everything. Like
I don't think you're fooling anyone with that.
I think it's quiet down. Where's my trailer at? Here we go.
I'm the one who keeps the self-esteem up, right, guys?
Okay, so I don't have a trailer per se, but I just want to like have this in the background for half a hot second here because the soundtrack for this show is fantastic.
Oh, so good.
It is this weird jazz fusion kind of stuff. Just listen to the voices. Come on.
親も子もないお雪を探し出して切る所存かの刺客に他の目的はござるまい許さんわしの面体に泥を塗るなど断じて許さん
That will be the soundtrack of your life. Just a lot of... There's so much action in this film. But it is unbelievable.
I will say one drawback, though, with some of the music and some of the stuff on screen while said music is playing. If somebody were to walk in at the wrong time, they might think you were watching some retro adult fare.
Well,
Especially this one, man. There are boobs everywhere in
and
this one.
Yeah, it's 1972, and that's what we kind of do with some stuff here. So who knows? But you know what time it is.
It's time for Bruce's Comic Book Connection.
Oh, that's right. 4 times a charm.
Boy, is it now. So Lone Wolf and Cub has become a gift that just keeps on giving for the podcast. We have excellent movie year after year. But the drawback is it gets a little bit trickier to come up with a comic book connection each time around. And it's not totally easy like the Stallone connection for these low-budget Japanese films from the 70s. But I've talked about how Frank Miller was a fan and helped bring good quality translations of the manga to the U.S. So I thought instead, I would look into some of the specifics of this particular movie. Like that its Japanese title was Wolf with Child in Tow. The Heart of a Parent, The Heart of a Child. Got to say, hands down, better title than what we got. One of its American titles was Shogun Assassin 3, Slashing Blades of Carnage, which I got to say is overselling. Maybe overselling the blades and underselling the carnage. I don't know.
I don't know.
That title doesn't work.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I like Wolf with Child in Tow, The Heart of a Parent, The Heart of a Child. I'm telling you. But this movie, it introduces a new character named Oyuki, a female assassin who's hunted by her former clan. And I wonder if you could see Oyuki as a kind of Elektra type. And, knowing that Frank Miller was a fan of this franchise, I wonder if Oyuki was the inspiration for Elektra. I mean, this isn't the craziest theory I've ever had, is it?
No, certainly not.
Well, I really do feel like I see the full blueprint for Elektra with this lady ninja. And it is true that Elektra didn't unfurl her chowder buckets into the breeze as a means of intimidating her opponents. But that probably was just because Marvel kept telling Frank to knock it off every time he drew Elektra that way. Now, that little baby goblin-looking thing that's tattooed around Oyuki's mommy melon, well, that's a Kintaro. And that's a folk hero from Japanese folklore. And it's a child with superhuman strength. And he was raised by a Yama-uba, which is a mountain witch, which just happens to be what's tattooed on Oyuki's back as the mountain witch. And Kintaro is supposedly based on a real person, a person named Sakata Kintoki, who lived during the Heian period, and he probably came from what is now the city of Minamiyashigara, Kanagawa. And he served as a retainer for the samurai Minamoto no Yorimitsu, and he became well known for his abilities as a warrior. And as with many larger-than-life individuals, his legend has grown with time. And speaking of larger-than-life individuals, Adam, do you have a list?
I do. He's gotten really good at reading those names, hadn't he? I tell you, that anime dad stuff's been paying off. Holy moly.
It only took 10 years.
You just gotta you can tell yourself, I gotta do 5 videos a week that will I keep saying these names over and over again. And eventually the internet's gonna correct me enough times. I will eventually say it correct.
Mistake, people are hopping all over you.
He's over here bowing and whatnot.
It'd be nice now to go back to like the first comic book connection I did for Power Rangers or something like that, where you're gonna hear me really doing the great job.
Yeah. Well, if that wasn't enough, let me sell everybody on this 4th in the Lone Wolf and Cub series, because this sucker's got everything. Everybody's favorite fat dad and his plucky little son are back for their 4th installment of the series, which we read beforehand was one of the most lowbrow in the series. Needless to say, we were excited. Literally the first shot in this movie is a close-up of a nipple with a red baby tattoo, which I just learned is called Kintaro, all right? Surrounding said nipple. That's the movie you're getting into, gang, all right? We got gut stabbing, blood splatting, chest stabbing, pressurized Asian, top-knot cutting to a top-notch opening credit sequence / last time on Wolf and Cub with crazy jazz fusion background music. We got a tattoo tutorial. We got tattoo flashbacks. At this point, I know Sean is loving it. We got a street play that's surely the envy of Bruce Leslie. Chimes of doom, funny hats, amazing haircuts, even better eyebrows, basket head flute parade, added voiceover clearly because no one knew what was going on in those scenes. Let's get a narrator on that, can we? We got the death stare, a game of that kid could die in a fire. Let's just wait and see what happens. We got a Grunby flashback where I'm pretty sure there's a Mission Impossible 3 and an Infinity Pool lawsuit that could happen. I'm just saying. We got seppuku, head chopping, wheat field showdown, arm chop, shopping. Buddha Temple Ninja Fight. I won't even describe it to you. You just got to watch it. It's amazing. Limbs everywhere. We
Putties.
got...
He was fighting putties.
When yeah, a little bit of that as well. More flashbacks. It's a lone wolf and cub flick, so you know there's going to be a bath time scene, but don't let that fool you. This just leads to a, well, I'll put it cleanly for the show, an assault flashback, so that's super fun. We got two sword fight scenes. That's right, two swords with fire. I'm sorry, is what I should have said. I buried the lead. They're fire swords. We got two fire swords fights, sidestep stabbing, bodies on a pyre. Let's see, baby cart gadgets galore. There's a trench run, for heaven's sake. We got a final boss battle, and the best line in the film: live until the day I send you to hell. This movie's got everything.
So
I love that line.
Here's the thing with this particular one, right? Is that this is the first one of the series where it feels like the difference between that original Godzilla movie where it's very serious, and the tones are very serious, to guys breaking toys and rubber suits. Yeah. Godzilla. Because at first it's a very serious tone with Godzilla. Then you cut to, I think it's even the very next movie. It's like, oh, kids love Godzilla. Let's just have guys in rubber suits fight each other.
Yeah.
And so that's where we are with this now, is that the first movie is beautiful. The second movie is great. The third movie, it starts to turn a little bit
yeah,
like
with the chick teleporting and stuff and the super crazy guys. Yeah.
The weapons in the baby carriage. But now we have really gone full turn.
Full Fast and Furious 7.
There is some real yucks happening in this movie where the machine guns that are in the baby carriage now.
Beautiful.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy this movie a ton. I love it so much, but I also love the Godzilla with sweaty guys in rubber suits. And that is basically where this has turned to now, is that it used to be something that was absolutely art. And now it's no longer art anymore. It's just fun to watch.
And before we reach the end of this franchise, I'm hoping we see a laser beam.
There were a lot more guns in this one, I think, than in any of the previous ones, for sure, by maybe a long shot.
I mean, we're going to sit back and look at this from the big picture once we're done with it all and realize this was a very, very clever diatribe about what happened to Japanese culture with the introduction of gunpowder. We're going to see it devolve as more and more guns are in the movie series.
Hey, listen,
it's Nobel Prize stuff.
I'm just so glad that we've continued on with same actors for both, even the kid. Yeah. They're going along. It looks like they just shot, my guess is just one big giant, 14-hour movie. And they're like, all right, we'll chop this up into a whole bunch of pieces.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is I think that we're in year 4 of covering this movie that was probably made within 4 weeks of when the first one was made.
I think you're not wrong, because the kid is not aging nearly as much as he should if they're just going by regular, shooting rules, which tells me that they probably shot out all 6 of these within a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, he does grow a little bit.
I was thinking they may have almost shot on a TV production schedule and got this all out in what would have been one season, it was about 13 hours.
Well, there's no way with at the very least the first 2, because the first 2, just the lighting setups alone for a lot of those shots, there's no way that they're doing it on a TV schedule.
Plus, you get to this movie, and I just want to say, in the first one, when he's in a village, I'm pretty impressed with the work they've done to make the village seem period appropriate. But now I feel like they just found rural towns where the stuff looks kind of old and they're not doing any set dressing at all. I'm serious, the paint on the wall.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think that I think the most set dressing they did on this show was that on this movie was that they found they found a place where they're like, hey, let's dig basically a maze here.
Yeah.
And again, ain't nothing wrong with that. I love love this movie. I do have a real question for you guys, because we kind of touched on it with the last Lone Wolf and Cub, and that is that the child actor playing Cub in this movie, I don't know how they're getting the performances out of him that they are, because he's so expressive and so good in these.
It's astounding.
And it's so natural, his responses to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how they're getting this performance out of this kid.
Have either of you guys seen there's this show on Netflix that's been imported from Japan that's called like Baby's Day Out or something? Or am I old? And I don't know what it is, but they take like these toddlers and send them out by themselves to go to the store and buy like jellied eels or something. I don't know what kind of stuff you buy in the grocery store in Japan, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's a thing that's kind of been going on in parenting. Some people do it like in New York, stuff they called free range parenting, as it were.
Well, this seems really kind of shocking to American viewers, though, that these toddlers are actually going out crossing the street, going out to town and back by themselves. But it makes me wonder, like, this is a roundabout way of saying maybe the idea of child welfare is a little bit different in Japan. So maybe they just like put this kid out there in a field for a 12-hour day and film every single thing he does, and then they get the moments that work.
But he has responses to things constantly that people are doing.
And
you know what?
Even
That's
if you
a good
look,
point,
even
too.
if you look back in I can't remember if it's the previous movie or the one before, where he's outside and he's like making dinner and stuff, and like there's so much that he's doing in like one take that you're like, who's telling him to do this? How does he how are they coaching him to do all? It's unreal.
You know, where it really came onto my radar was the last movie where he saves Lone Wolf's life. And you know every single thing that's happening in the scene for him in order to save his life, where he's giving him the water, and you can see the recognition in his face. Oh, he needs water now.
Yeah.
And so he starts getting a little bit nervous because he doesn't know where to find water. And he finds the water, and his face is like, oh, there's the thing I need.
Yeah.
And he goes over.
And it's never over the top. It's exactly what it should be.
It's so naturalistic. It's not a, you got it, dude. Like, it's not that kind of thing.
It just seems so real that it feels to me like it has to almost be a little too real. Like they don't tell him where the water is. They just tell him you need to find the water. So when he finds it, that's genuine. I don't know how they get that. Like I can't give the kid the credit he probably deserves for being an actor, because the performance
like
just
at the
seems
same
too
time,
genuine.
like the point where which is real impactful and is just like so awesome and just really encapsulates what this kid is, especially at this point in his life, of the guy talking about, you know, waiting for him to be out in the middle of that field that's on fire. And he's like, just look at this kid. He's just sitting here. He's looking at everything. And the way that they're filmed, like, and you, even if he wasn't narrating this thing, you see it. You see this kid looking around and trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this pickle.
Yeah.
But like, and then the guy just going like, look at him. He's so in charge that like he knows he's going to die, but like he's still just like he's accepted it. Like if that's what's going to happen, it's what's going to happen. But I'm still going to get out of here if I can. It's unreal.
But that's the whole thing, is that the dude read it wrong. He read it as that the kid is ready to die.
Oh no, he read that at first, of course. Yeah.
Right.
Now, what I do like, though, is he talks about the look in the eyes, and that he's only seen it once before, and how much killing it takes to have the look at the eyes. And then, of course, they show the actor playing our main character here, Lone Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks to me like pretty much any retail worker on hour 7 of an 8-hour shift. Like that's the look I'm seeing in the eyes. Is like, man, this guy just wants to go home, drink something, smoke something, watch something, and go to sleep.
Yep. I love this kid. He's just like, and I'm not comparing myself, all right, but I am. So here's what happened. I remember when I was about like 13 or something, right beside the Domino's was a Taekwondo place, right? So it's like a Friday night. We're going to pick up the pizza, and of course the fluorescent glow and hias of a Taekwondo studio are going to draw a teenage kid. So I kind of walk over.
Sure.
So I'm like, all right, let's check this out. And they were all very cool, and everybody's just kind of doing their stuff or whatever. Go down, and I just kind of sit there, and I think my mom came up or something. And so this guy walks up, and now he's being a fancy boy. He's being a fancy boy at this point. He walks up and gi and everything. and does this like roundhouse kick like thing like in front of my face. Like I felt like he was like looking for a dodge. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't move an inch. And it was just like I felt like it did feel like that kid moment where I was just like, yeah, I felt this kid. Where it's just like some guy comes up and goes like, I'm gonna get you, son, and then you're just like,
prepared
what?
to die in a South Carolina strip mall.
Exactly. Exactly. And I was just like, yeah, I felt this. I know this feeling.
Avenge me, pizza.
See, I had a very similar story, only it involved me not balking until my pizza came out.
Give it, I said. Give it.
I was just standing at the counter staring dead in the guy's eyes. He tried he faked like he was going to punch me, but I didn't move until my pizza came out.
Speaking of that, I did actually, there was a guy who they gave my pizza to the guy that was paying in front of me the other day when I was going to get the pizza. It was just like, all right, I'll pick this up. And they're like, well, we just gave it to that guy. I'm like, great. So
now I got to kill somebody.
So now I'm going to wait for 25 minutes while you cook more pizza? All right, beautiful. I love my life.
I never even thought of that option. Okay.
But listen, I continue to have fun with this thing, but this kid
Let's go backwards because you'd lost the thread because you were busy talking about something that happened 25 years ago. So the kid is surrounded by fire.
Yes.
And it's this really wonderful moment where the kid digs himself in the mud so that he doesn't get burned alive. And the guy who has been waxing eloquently about the death stare in this kid. Oh my God, we get to watch this kid, what happens with this kid just before death. And not only does the kid not flinch, the kid knows how to get out of a fire, a ring of fire.
This kid, yes.
And the guy his jaw is on the ground because he can't believe that there's this little kid who is not only not afraid of fire or death, but knows how to get out of it. And the guy who is he's been just a thorn in Lone Wolf's side all these many years, and now he's making Cub also a thorn. And oh my God, it's just the best. It's the best.
Can we talk about this guy with the L'Oreal hairdo? You know what I mean? Like this guy that is in this scene. He's the one that sees the eyes of a killer in the little boy's eyes. Mm-hmm. But boy, there is so much to talk about with this guy. First off, going back to his origin story, his original beef with Lone Wolf here goes back to like the American Idol style auditions to be the executioner for the Shogun.
This must be the best gig ever because everybody wants to be the Shogun's assassin so flippin' bad, dude. And they're like, yo, this has to stay with our family. And you're like, wow, this has got to be a great gig. They kind of
have like some Terry Pratchett falling backwards into success story about how Ito actually gets it from the other guy. Because it's like, oh, well, you made the mistake of pointing your blade at the Shogun, and he put himself in the way. He was going to sacrifice himself to protect the Shogun, and he's like, he had no idea the Shogun was back there. He's like, yeah, but just the same.
Yeah, that's got
he tripped and fell and landed in the right place.
But the best part about that is that the Shogun is like, I hate that guy. I hate Lone Wolf. I hate it. I hate that he did that, and he wins, and I hate him so much. It's so funny.
And then they have the guy. They have the face maker. Can we talk about this dude who's the face maker?
Oh, yeah.
He comes out to make a face. And here's what I thought he was going to do, because Mr. L'Oreal fancy hairdo. He's got like this beautiful Billy Ray Cyrus in his prime hairdo. Well, he has to leave town because he shamed the family. But in order to not shame the family, they have to fake his death. And they say, bring out the face maker. Well, I think the guy who's running away, they're going to give him a new face so nobody knows who he is.
Right.
But no, they give his existing face to some other guy who then has to commit suicide. Like, and my gosh.
Somebody who's really skilled. I mean, that guy did a great job making a fake face.
And then now where's your face maker?
Yeah, now you don't have a face guy anymore. Good job, Shogun.
I absolutely love the YouTube level of editing on how the face maker's talents work too. I love that.
It's pretty good.
Just I thought the face maker, like this show cannot get crazy enough for me. This movie franchise, there is no bridge too far for me to cross now, as long as there's a baby cart waiting on the other side, because I love the face maker. I love some other weird stuff that's going to happen here. Like the guys that inexplicably walk around with baskets on their head because they're spies, but like the idea of being a spy is you should look like everybody else. Like, I understand hiding your identity is important, but you see the guy with the basket on his head, you're not giving him any information.
Hey, don't worry. He's got 4 other guys with him that are all dressed the same.
Tiniest little blowguns under there. They're like the size of pixie sticks.
I like the fact that they're flutes and blowguns. I thought that was pretty cool. But
Bill,
you want to inhale on the right one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
much.
don't put it in your mouth backwards, or you're gonna have a bad day.
Bill Simmons has a phrase, or he has this theory that Mike Tyson at one point got so crazy that you could release any information and say that Mike Tyson did it, and the public would think that it was true.
Yeah, I could say.
And I'm getting to that point with this series now, where you could do you could tell me that almost anything happens in the next movie, and I might believe it.
And also, just as a public service announcement to any children who are listening who frequently find themselves in brush fires, you will not be saved by doing what this kid did. Don't count on that saving your life.
Well, first of all,
unless you find yourself in ancient Japan, then go right ahead.
Because I think there's still no oxygen for you to breathe because of the fire.
Well, okay. Here's the problem though. So that's at least, we'll call that 8 inches deep, because that's, to cover his body. That's got to be at least 8 inches deep by about 3 feet wide for his, the length of the body and everything. There's no way he dug that hole in that time. Not less to find. And then where the hell did he get the carpet from? Wasn't there a carpet or some such thing that was
a
over
little
him?
mat made out of reeds? He weaved it. He had to weave it in the fire.
Well, he was in that.
It was woven.
There's a lot of wheat going on there, so I imagine he could have, had some time to whip something up.
I like the idea that he's gone all through Japan and pre-dug random holes just in case.
they're just around there, or they could say it's some form of varmint.
Yeah, it's my safe houses.
But listen, I also like how they just burn an entire thing, just going they were so happy with themselves too. They're like, yeah, the rice is going to be really great this year. Why didn't you guys check any of this? Did you just go ahead and start setting fires to thing and being like, well, hopefully there's nobody in there.
This isn't the first kid that's been out there. You know what I mean? He might not be the only kid on this particular day.
He reacted maybe.
He's just the one that our camera's following.
What do you guys think of this assassin lady?
I think she's great.
I think she's great too, but at times I couldn't figure out what do the creators want me to think about her? I never could square around. Is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? I thought it was going to kind of follow a little bit of a lone wolf formula where the first person he's supposed to kill has a really sympathetic story, so he helps them, but then he still kills them in the end too. I guess that kind of happens here. But I did think she was a cool addition. I thought she might be somebody who would stick around for later movies, though. I thought she might be a recurring love interest
just
or something.
A cool enough character that you're just because the tattoos are interesting and weird, and but she owns it. That opening scene where she just goes and just waxes all these dudes, you are set. It is so exciting right from the get-go she really helps establish that tone for this thing that sets it off. But I got to tell you, lady, I don't really know if you need the tattoo, because if some chowder buckets came at me in a fight, I think I would be, which I don't know that a tattoo would need to be, I don't need an addition. You know what I'm saying? I think I'd be distracted enough as it were. I'd be like, oh, this is very different from, ow, my eye, I can't see anymore. That would be what would happen. I don't have to go is that a little baby that's going over there? I don't need an extra level of confusion. I'm already sold. Don't worry.
I like that. The tattoo's a step too far, lady. I think that means job well done, because not only are you distracted, now you're explaining to her why she didn't need the tattoo.
Yeah, you don't even need that. It's just you wasted a lot of time. But I did listen. I love
that lady had tattoos. I didn't even notice.
I did dig the tattoo artist guy and everything, and his little story and the explanation of all the stuff. I thought that was just super great kind of standard martial arts bullcrappery that I just love.
When they very first showed us that she was going to be doing the old topless tiger technique, what do they call it? Topless tiger hidden. Anyway.
Yeah.
So when I was kind of expecting them to, this show would be crazy enough to have her maybe squirt something out of her boob during the intense part of the fight and get the guy in the eye to get the overhand or something like that. But that never happened. They never went for that.
Hey, listen, there was breastfeeding another one, so who are we to say what may or may not happen in this thing?
In fact, I when they're in the hot tub or whatever, the hot spring, And little man's going over there to check out her tattoo.
It's his first inclination. I love this.
For a
kid.
moment, I thought, wait, did they recycle that scene from? But no, it was this movie. This franchise has found its groove. They got to have one very uncomfortable baby in a bathtub with an adult woman who's not his mother scene.
Well, what they don't tell you is that was in the kid's writer.
That's how they got such a good performance out of it.
Listen,
That
I
was
will
the
be
final
in the
scene of the production.
I'll be in these films, but every one of them, I gotta get a little action.
If you want to see the tattoo, you got to nail this on the first take.
That's how they get you have to act your butt off in all of these other scenes, and then we'll have this boob scene at the end. I also, again,
I like it. You know, we're asking, how do they get these reactions out of this kid?
Yeah.
I'd like to see a director's cut where just off camera, there's a lady showing him boobs all the time. That's how they keep getting the reaction.
She takes him away. That's when the concerned look comes on, like, I'm angry now.
Yeah. I mean, at his age, it's almost like if you're off screen with Twinkies or something. I mean, he's thinking, he might be hungry.
I'm also like, there's part of me though, because the kid is such a good actor that I think like you seen that fighter kid, that Hezbollah guy that looks like he looks like he's like
20 years old
or something like that. Yeah,
he's not actually a child.
This kid could have that. I don't know. I mean, who's to say?
I got to be honest. I had that same thought, but I couldn't remember Hezbollah's name, so I just kept it down quiet.
It's not. He's an actual child.
Oh, I know, but it's one of he's such a good actor. It makes you start to question things sometimes. At least it does for me, where I'm just like, how is this kid so good?
One of the I am such a sucker too for every single time that kid screams "Papa." Every time he screams that, I'm like, that little Dickens.
I'd like a scene. I'd like a cut scene to come out where you hear the director yell "cut" in Japanese, of course, and then all of a sudden the kid like leans over to one side, pops his back, and then you see him slowly stand up, and he was like Dorf on golfing it the whole time, and this was Tim Conway.
That'd be hilarious. His little feet. He's running so fast and like
so
everywhere
adorable.
he's going, it's just
He is.
It's so great. You just can't help but just go like, I want this kid to be safe on everything. Please don't die in this fire.
Can I tell you my favorite moment in this movie is when those two guys that are really sweaty and they've got their big clown clothes on and stuff, and like they're very like in the town.
The Bruce Patrol, as I call them.
Yes, they're definitely Bruce Leslie all day. And the kid and Cub is like, I don't see what's so funny about these two idiots. It's so funny. The kid's response to the two men who think they're being funny, and the kid is just like, I am not pleased with these two. It's so funny, and like, and he starts walking after them as they're going home, and they're like, You need to leave us alone, kid, because he's like just so perplexed by them. Like, why do you behave the way you do? And he just keeps walking after them.
I felt like there was a really serious missed opportunity here, because I felt like this clan of traveling entertainers, like they should have figured out a way that like Lone Wolf and Cub have to go undercover, and we have Lone Wolf out there trying to be a clown and hating every minute of it. Like, I think there was a serious missed opportunity to do something along those lines in this movie.
Hey, we got at least 3 more movies of these, so I think.
Yeah, but are they going? Maybe they will bring this clan.
Oh, is there 3 more?
Maybe there's 2 more. Maybe this.
Right, because Shogun Assassin is 1980, right? And it's all of it jumbled up together.
The first, like the first 2, I think. Let's see. So many swords. I don't know. See, Bruce, you said that there wasn't. You didn't feel that there was enough violence in this thing. Was that what you said?
Did I say I didn't feel like there was enough violence?
Or something about there not being enough limbs and stuff being cut off. What, I don't know what you said, but it made me just kind of like like my brain didn't. I stopped working. I couldn't remember it, but I was just like, "What is he talking about? This thing is so bloody." It's great.
I don't know, man. I don't remember what I said. I say all kinds of crazy things.
But yeah, the 3M blood is back. It is everywhere. It is flowing. People are pressurized everywhere. And so many arms and legs and feet and just everything. Heads getting chopped off left and right. Swords right down the middle of people being chopped in half. Oh my gosh. It's just so much fun.
And I was kind of wondering, the last one had a pretty darn big finale where he's essentially fighting like a whole army off.
Mhm.
And I wonder, how are they going to escalate that? Because, the idea, every sequel, you have to have a bigger finishing number. And that's why they get so ridiculous and why they struggled to go past 3 for a lot of franchises. But I thought they did a pretty good job there of having the maze scene as a way to like even out the numbers, because you can't get that much bigger without it just getting too ridiculous. But I really enjoyed that maze twist. And you had said they go out into the desert and dig this maze and have a fun scene. But I even wondered if this is actually some kind of natural formation they just used.
I think
thought it might be a gulch or something.
I mean, you're not wrong. There's probably a bit of natural there, but with that being said, there's no way that they didn't extend that. I mean, they had to.
Okay.
But I love I love that scene. And to bring up your point, how do we escalate the ending of the last one when he fought an entire army? Oh, right. We'll have him fight 2 armies. That's basically what happens at the end of this one.
Yes.
So great. And I got to say that after the defeat of the tattooed female assassin, I was like, oh man, that ended really quickly, and it kind of didn't pay off. And then the third act starts, and I was like, holy cow!
I thought it was going to end with her death, more or less.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it seems to be the obvious conclusion, because that's where we start with. There's another death kind of in between those, a big set piece and everything. And so this is going to be, this is your last spot. And even then, as fast as and short as this movie is, you even go like, oh gosh, I guess we're over already. And then no, we got a whole nother act to go here. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I love the kind of, and I didn't think I would, but the subplot with her dad and their clan and everything, and him just basically honoring this assassin code and everything, just you do what you got to do kind of deal, and then coming back and honoring him and just saying, hey, look, she fought to the bitter end and all this stuff. And he's like, hey, why don't you come and just, tell me about those last moments. There was something about that was kind of I don't know. I really like that. Thought it was cool.
Yeah,
me too.
I did like that. And I felt like there was enough overarching story there that could have lasted throughout more movies. And maybe they will come back to it, but it felt like they kind of ended it and they're going to leave it here, to be honest, though. Yeah,
it feels like definitely with each one of these, it is that progression on from them just kind of hey, we had all of this tragedy happen to us. They didn't say it out loud as many times in this one. I mean, there were a couple of slight mentions, but not the pounding in before where they were talking about we're on our way to hell kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that quite as much. There were a couple of mentions, but they didn't lean into that kind of listen, we're going to die. We're going straight to hell because we done did all the bad things, and that's what's awaiting for us. And so whoever gets on our way on that way, good luck to you.
And I think it's worth mentioning the words that he has with his son before he goes into this final battle. Where he says,
oh my word,
you stay here and die too, or something along those lines.
You make sure you die too. Yeah, right here.
Pretty crazy instructions. Do you think a kid would follow those instructions?
That kid would.
Yeah, that kid would certainly do it. He has no will other than oh, this is what my father said. That's what I'm going to do. 100% believe that kid would do that. Well,
and also,
and here's the thing: not only would he do that, he'd go out swinging so hard.
Yeah,
so hard. Which, by the way, Dad also does as well. Which is just and he takes, and this is at least the second film or so that he takes that level of damage, because he's been getting rocked. He does a lot of rocking himself, but these last couple times he's been on the end of a blade a little bit more than I would hope he would be at this point.
I really thought he might die at the end of this movie. And, you can say, that there's more movies in the franchise, but they could have done some crazy lightning strikes Jason and brings him back to the bottom of prison.
Tom Selleck comes in and plays his dad.
That would have been actually really good to see.
That would have been pretty damn cool. I always take it now that it's kind of like Savage Dragon, where you think oh man, it's going to take him a long time to recover from that. And then next issue, he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, the scene with the baby cart and the machine guns, because that's another one. We put the characters in these great perils where there's 8 billion people around them, and it is seriously, oh, how you gonna get out of this pickle? It ain't gonna. This is pretty much impossible. And then you go, oh yes, this cart has gadgets and stuff, which you remember. But you don't think it's got this many guns on it.
It does now.
There's like 88 guns all around this thing, and they just demolish everybody.
It's like one of those special vehicles they were making every other week on the A-Team.
Yeah. It's
So
a Punisher
accurate.
level kind of
Yeah.
vehicle for sure. But there's so many different projectiles and stuff that come out of it. I love it. I wish it just would be, again, we got 2 more movies. Maybe at some point it becomes sentient, starts talking to the kid. At this point, like you said, who's going to be surprised?
And I wasn't sure what happened to the guy that got his arm cut off until the end rolls around here and we see he's still out there. But at some point, I couldn't quite track his character, and I thought maybe he bled to death after he got his arm cut off. But we find out that no, he's still going to be around to fight another day, a one-arm duel, I guess.
Very much oh, that's but a scratch. Don't want to, no, but it's fine.
Yeah, the Black Knight from Monty Python.
But yeah, I thought that was such a great ending, and really one that makes me excited for the next one and stuff going on, that we have kind of a more of a continuing story with this. And
so I have no knowledge of what's in the future movies at all at this point, but I do kind of want to know, like, man, in my mind, I'm speculating what kind of crazy arm that guy's going to show up with when he does show back up.
Well, now here's the thing though, Bruce, there is a long history of one-armed swordsman movies and stuff in martial arts films. So like it's a trope that's been around for a very long time.
In canon, they said that the guy with the nice hair was better as a swordsman than Lone Wolf. So now having one arm, that maybe evens up the battle.
He is still like, I still love watching that guy move, because like he's out of shape, but he moves with such like just veracity.
It's like me at a wedding reception.
Yes. Except this guy also like front flips into a canyon, and you're like, what is going on? It is so great to just watch him go through and demolish everybody. But here's the thing. It's not like, okay, like sometimes when you would see like if Jack Black was doing this, you would kind of go like, well, it looks like all the other guys are just kind of flopping and stuff. Mm-hmm. This dude looks like he is going through and laying waste to cats.
I bet you the guy really knows judo or something, I bet like he's really doing his tosses.
He had some kind of background in martial arts in some way, I would imagine.
Are you kidding?
Because he's just like, he's too good. He moves in that.
Adam, are you joking right now?
Well, the way Bruce just said that.
He's the dude did like 100 movies before he was in Lone Wolf and Cub.
Oh, no, I heard he was an insurance
but he
salesman.
was always like the town drunk though, right?
Like Otis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Otis.
Yes.
He was in the Japanese Andy Griffith.
You remember when Otis became part of the Matrix?
They called it Sheriff Andy-san.
I quit. All right, let me okay. Here's what I have to say. I wonder how in the world, because good luck, how in the world that this wild world of Asian cinema relates back 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone.
Well, thank you, Adam. I have a prepared statement, and this is the 4th time we're doing this.
Good luck. Woo!
Thank you. Mr. Stallone, this week's connection comes in the form of an article Screen Rant put together in 2017, which was 6 years ago, if you can believe it. And that article is entitled 15 Deadliest Action Stars Ranked by Body Count. You're on that list at number 7 with 786 murders. I'm quite sure that number has risen because since 2017, you've been in Escape Plan 2, Escape Plan 3, Rambo Last Blood, The Suicide Squad, Samaritan, and Tulsa King, which I'm sure has also catapulted you to a higher number on this list overall. On the same list are some of the names you would expect. Your Charles Bronson, your Chuck Norris, Arnold Schwarzenegger. But there's also some surprises, like at number 2 on the list, Mila Jovovich with 1,292 kills.
Oh, those are undead. Wow. I don't know that counts.
How does she have time to sleep? Nicolas Cage at number 12 with 563.
Yeah.
just barely beat out Wesley Snipes at number. Wesley Snipes just beat him out at number 11 with 564. So I guess if you're an A-list star and you get into trouble with the IRS, you're going to star in a bunch of crappy VOD movies where you kill a bunch of people. And I don't understand why those two guys didn't star in a movie together called Let This Be Enough, where every dollar made goes to paying off both actors' IRS debts.
Beautiful, beautiful.
But the entire reason for this week's Stallone connection brings us to number 10, the actor who played Lone Wolf himself, Tomotsuburo Wakayama, with 663.
Sheesh.
For a fat guy, that's an impressive kill count. Wakayama might have passed away in 1992, but he was killing people in movies right up to the end, starring in 2 movies in 1992. Now,
Wow.
Mr. Stallone, I'm part of Generation X, which means that I grew up watching the Bad News Bears movies, even the awful ones. And the Bad News Bears go to Japan absolutely, definitely sucks. But I learned this week that the coach of the Japanese team is none other than Lone Wolf himself.
Wow.
No.
So Misaburo Wakayama.
Nice.
I haven't seen the movie since I was a stupid, disgusting child, so I don't remember his performance. It's more like snapshots in my mind. And this weekend, I was wondering maybe I should watch it again now that I know who Wakayama is and what he came from. And then I remembered that I thought it was a bad movie when I was a disgusting idiot preteen. So I can only imagine how bad it must be to my adult eyes. But the one good thing there is a few good things about the Bad News Bears Go to Japan. It answers a bunch of questions people had been asking themselves for years. Questions like, is Tony Curtis a suitable trade-off of Walter Matthau? No. Is Jackie Earle Haley going to grow into his looks, or will he look like a dirtbag forever for all his life? Yes. How many of the kids will stick around for all 3 movies? The answer, surprisingly, is 6. And finally, does Jackie Earle Haley consider the Bad News Bears Go to Japan the worst movie he's ever done? And the answer is yes. And please keep in mind, Jackie Earle Haley is in Maniac Cop 3. Ooh. And yet he considers the Bad News Bears Go to Japan his worst movie. And there you have it, Mr. Stallone. This week's Stallone Connection is an internet clickbait list that was made in 2017 because everyone who made these movies has been dead for 20 years except the baby. The baby is still alive, although the last time he acted was as a small child in 1980, and now he's 55 years old. I do know in 2005, he got 3 years in prison for attempting to smuggle a gun from Thailand into Japan for reasons that I will not bring up here because this is a light, family-friendly podcast that occasionally talks about boobs. Yeah. I hope to hear from you next week. Your pal, Sweet Shawnzy from the internet.
With weeks like this, you can't not.
Was Jackie Earle Haley in Doll Man?
He sure is. He's one of the bad guys.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, man, wow, that's some shade being thrown at a movie that I don't think I've ever seen. Bad News Bears Go to Japan.
It is extraordinarily bad. I mean, like the Bad News Bears Breaking Training is also not great.
I like the one where they went to the Astrodome.
That is Breaking Training.
Yeah, that one I liked as a kid.
When you're like 11 or 12 and you don't like a comedy,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that comedy's a piece of crap. If you're like 11, 12 and you go like, that was terrible, that movie's real bad because those kids laugh at anything.
It's just impossible to recast Buttermaker.
It is. And even as a kid, I didn't have Wigdar at the time. You could tell there's like Tony Curtis's hair is fake. Like I could tell as like an 11-year-old boy.
It's as real as a.
Why doesn't somebody tell him to take that wig off?
He likes it. Well, over here at Hero Movie Podcast, we have our own patented Robin rating system. Bruce, so where does Lone Wolf and Cub, Baby Cart in Peril, got to be specific, fall on the Robin rating system for you?
Nice and crazy. You don't have to see the first 3 to enjoy this one. You can jump right into it. Story stands alone.
Yeah.
It's the chowderiest. I mean, bring your own chowder because there's plenty of buckets to put it in. I don't know how to say this. This is the chowder bucketiest of these movies. So if you really like to see some cool, fun samurai go into more exploitative territory, this is the movie for you. So I'm giving it a Tim Drake.
Yeah, Sean?
Yeah, this is where the Godzilla turn happens for Lone Wolf and Cub, and I'm here for it. I love the artistic style of the original ones. I love the goofiness of where we are now. It is one of those rare instances where this movie is an hour and a half long and it feels like it's 10 minutes long, even though they're starting to cheap out and be weird and have dumb things that the characters do. And it doesn't matter because it's just so fascinating and interesting. So for me, this is a very high Tim Drake.
And it's a lot of it's a lot of vignettes, you know? It's a little bit of this and then a little bit of this. So like if you don't like what's going on, don't worry. Wait about 10 minutes, a little something else is coming down the pipe. And it's also weird and interesting. And then there's like spurts of violence and then other, story. It's a lot of fun. It's really good, and that's why this is a Tim Drake for me as well. It's so much fun. It is the more over the top of all of them. Yeah, you don't need to see the other ones, but just keep in mind, obviously, that, some bad stuff had happened in the past and they're on this. Like I said, I don't think they put in that, like, we're on our way to hell and we're going to die at the end of this thing. I don't think they put that in, emphasize that as much this time around, and I wish they would have done that.
And it does have a little bit of a clip montage at the title sequence that lets you know what's happened so far.
Gets you a little bit, like I said, a little bit of a last on. So it's not horrible. And that music in that opening title sequence is amazing. So
so good.
But yeah, so that's Lone Wolf and Cub, Baby Cart in Peril. It's available on the Criterion Channel and on HBO Max right now. So check it out if you haven't already. That will do it for this episode of Hero Movie Podcast. Next week, we are stepping back into the theaters for, get this, another Ant-Man movie. Can you believe we are at the point where we have more Ant-Man movies than Captain America movies?
Man, that's coming up this weekend.
That's this weekend, man. It's going to be a time. I don't know. Have you seen Evangeline Lilly in any of these promotional ads? I haven't watched what she said, but you got Paul Rudd. He's dressed up. He looks nice. And then you got Evangeline Lilly over to her right, who's also dressed up, but in what I could only describe as like the third Doctor from Doctor Who. Dressed like she's got like this.
I'm liking that style choice.
Not until you see the hair, which is exactly the same. It is like this. Like
I'm loving it.
She looks like a '60s Doctor Who.
I am loving everything you're saying there.
It is the weirdest thing. I'm like, what is she doing? What program do you have right now where you're like, this is what I'm wearing to this promotional shoot for Ant-Man? I love this woman, but her hair choices, I cannot understand them. But I'm sure we'll talk about plenty of those hair things next week when we're talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quadrophenia or Quantumania. I keep wanting to say Quadrophenia because that's the Who album.
You might as well, man. I mean, lean into it.
Why not? So we'll be talking about that next week. Bruce, in the meantime, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I just want to cede my time this week to Blockbuster, who's going to have a big announcement in the Super Bowl. So, I don't know what it is, but on Monday morning, after you listen to this, rush out to what I'm sure is blockbustervideo.com or something to sign up for whatever ridiculousness they have.
And if you want to see how correct we were in our assumptions as to what this Blockbuster thing is, check out the patreon.com/HMP, and it's in the Dinger Zone. Sean, what else?
We are 2 weeks away from Mandalorian 30 Questions Season 3.
Goodness.
So please check that out. We are very close.
Somebody put out this like render that they did in Unreal Engine 5 of a Mandalorian game, and oh my word, it looked so amazing, and it was just like this. I can't wait till this show comes back. I am just so excited for that. So we got it coming up. Subscribe, everybody. That is it. Join us next week for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. For Sweet Sean Kovacs from the internet, and I'm Adam Porters. Bruce Leslie. Good Lord. I'm Adam Porters. Stay super, everybody.
Bye, Marty and Amy.
Good.
Dance with the mantis, note the slim chances. Chant this anthem, swing like Pete Sampras. Taking it straight to big man on campus. Brandish your weapon or get dropped to the canvas. Scandalous, made the metro panic. Call static, with or without the automatic. And while I'm at it, yo, you got cash passing, it's drastic. Got to send half the dirty bastard.
Yo, waves are spinning, blades are spinning. Slay him in the 8th inning, stay truck, guard stay playing linen. Kill rap, observe the uptowns, whole feel at. Ming jeans on scene with a real at. 2000 Zetos, moving with an ill ego. For real for real, ill lines, ill people, yo, bring it back, 9 more civilians. Poly and deals, monopoly and bills, y'all flying. Caught 300, lab look royal with a mean stomach. Go broke, all seen, done it. Words from the heavy set. If I don't eat, then we already met. Flies broke, lava than coke.
Now what clan you know where lives this sell? Bust shots at Big Ben like we got time to kill. Can't jello, I'm just too hot to tell. Put on my gasoline boots and walk through hell. With 9 generals, 9 ninjas in your video. 9 milli low, semi-auto with no cereal. Man, metaphysical. I speak for criminals who don't pay their bills on time with digital. Never seen smoke a bag of evergreen. My squad got a Jones. More heads for the submarine. Johnny in the dungeon, taking all bets. Throw your ones in. Scared money don't make money. Throw
That's
your ones in.
Damo. San Juan, Puerto Rico, blowing hydro on the beach with Samico. My gun bullet hollow for you to swallow, blowing the nozzle. Head whistle, 1 in the head. This is cold red, man for dead. X amount of lead sprayed from the barrel. He cleared the street like Connor O'Carroll. Fully equipped rifle, banana clip to make my from East New York flip.
Yo, you may catch me in a pair of polo skippers, matching cap, razor blades in my gums. Bobby, you may catch me in yellow Havana Joe's blue jumping my face off, son. Bobby, y'all might just catch me in the park playing chess, studying math, shining 7 in the sun. Bobby, but you won't catch me without the ratchet in the joint, smoked out, dead broke or off point. Bobby.
Wallows comfortable, chocolate frosting. Your socks hanging out, yours is talking. Rock so steadily, son, I'm still crazy. Brought my old for some D-Fuzz in the 80s. Nat Turners with burners, Jackie Jordan Kersey. Torch shot, chatter rat, reimburse me. Rockstales, ruby red cells, Bloomingdale blocks, oxtails chopped up in Caribbean spots. I'm nice, maxed out, creeping with the axe out. Murder beast bikini, switching with they backs out.
Wanna pop? I pop clips. I put my on your lips. Alabama split hammer slay quick that David Banner gamma race. Shells in the mouth, jailhouse snitch, my powder voice, Snow White sniff. Verbal killers, gorilla grip, guard body, shit, Puff Marley, split.
You might see me in the 6, that's not my style. You might see me with a, that's not my child. I be in the benzo, keep a low profile. Dead serious, take flicks and don't smile. I'm trying to get money, y'all cats are wild. I pose for the clothes, make a song like wow. I'ma chip off the board game. Got swore game, live life to the fullest. Still want more fame. Thoughts on layaway, beats on standby. Outfits pressed up, ready for anti.
Run on the track like Jesse Owens. Broke the record flowing without any knowing that my wordplay won the 400-meter relay. It's on once I grab the baton from the DJ. An athlete with his iron cleat in the ground. Wireless who sprint off the gun sound. The best time yet, still 7.0. Swift flow made the cameraman clothes blow.